Hello, everyone. I'm jumping on because I want to explain something really important about your liver enzymes because you may have seen ALT or AST rise during metabolic balance. You may be concerned about your liver function. Okay, I do have this conversation a lot with people, and so sometimes it's easier to address this as a recording because the information can become clearer um, outside of the limited time that we have in our consultations. So let's look at liver enzymes and what's actually happening here. Now, if your ALT or AST come back elevated on a blood test, the first concern is to look at or think about liver damage or liver inflammation or metabolic fatty liver syndrome. They're our first protocol, right? However, that's not the whole picture. So I want to walk you through what's actually happening because it's the opposite of damage. This is what we want to think about. Flip the coin for a second. For most people who come and see me, the liver has been sluggish for years, and that's why you end up in my office with me. It's based around irregular eating, poor bile flow, constipation, high cholesterol, insulin resistance, stress, and sometimes alcohol can play a part in this as well. So, the moment you start eating regularly, improving your blood sugar, adding in fiber, supporting healthy bile flow, then your liver has to ramp up the activity. It has to do more. So, the ALT and the AST aren't solely damage markers, they're activity markers. They rise when your liver switches back on. Right. So, what this means is that these enzymes are not only about fatty liver or visceral fat either. It's about bile flow, about gallbladder function, it's cholesterol metabolism, it's clearing liver congestion. Your liver makes your cholesterol, right? It produces bile, it clears the hormones, it filters your blood. So when a system that's been sluggish for some time suddenly starts moving again, enzymes rise simply because your liver's finally doing the job it's supposed to be doing. Now, if your enzymes are still up after 12 to 14 weeks, we zoom out. We don't say there's damage. We zoom out and have a look at what's going on. Are you losing weight? Is your digestion improving? Is your sleep better? Is your energy steadier? Are your cravings down? Are your cholesterol and blood sugar levels improving? If the answer is yes, your liver is still in repair mode. Now, some people clear congestion quickly, some takes longer. Everyone's timeline is going to be different. So remember here that it's your liver that makes around 80% of your cholesterol, not your food. It's your liver. It's doing a big job, right? So when cholesterol's high, it's often a sign of sluggish bile flow, poor liver clearance, and metabolic congestion. And these raise your liver enzymes. Your liver isn't just dealing with food, it's also dealing with medication and supplements that you're taking as well. All of it gets broken down through your liver. So this also contributes to your enzymes staying elevated simply because your liver's doing extra work. Estrogen recycling is another one. So your liver clears your estrogen, but if your bile flow is sluggish or you're not pooping regularly, that estrogen gets recycled back into your bloodstream instead of being eliminated, and that increases liver load and congestion too. So when liver enzymes rise, it's not just about fat loss or bile flow or liver damage. It's about activation, stagnation, detoxification, overload, stimulation. There's a lot of things that can be going on. Quick word about coffee because this comes up constantly as well. Coffee is actually liver protective for most people. It tends to lower liver enzymes. But when your liver is sluggish or your bile flow is slow, coffee can temporarily push those enzymes up because it stimulates bile flow and it activates the liver. That's not harm. That's just your liver waking up. Now, if we put alcohol into the picture, coffee can keep these enzymes elevated for longer because your liver's juggling repair and processing alcohol at the same time. So coffee's not the problem. It's a combination of repair, sluggish bile, and alcohol. And alcohol is the number one thing that keeps enzymes elevated, even in small amounts. So when your liver's trying to clear stored fat and improve bile flow and work on cholesterol and all the things it's doing, then alcohol's going to force it up, and it's going to deal with the alcohol first and stop dealing with the things that it should be dealing with. It slows bile flow, it raises inflammation, and it keeps the ALT and the AST higher for longer. Doesn't mean the liver's damaged, it means it's working really hard. So here's what's happening. A temporary rise in liver enzymes isn't specifically a sign of harm. It's also a sign of activation and repair. Your liver is clearing congestion. It's improving the bile flow. It's recalibrating your cholesterol metabolism. And this takes time. Consistency. It takes consistency and often a break from alcohol so it can just finish the job and do what it's meant to be doing. Other things that we want to consider are stress and cortisol load. So chronic stress increases cortisol, increases the adrenaline, inflammatory cytokines, gut permeability, and liver workload. High cortisol can also slow bile flow and increase insulin resistance, both of which keep ALT and AST elevated. It's very common when we're starting with our metabolic balance program, because we're actually getting all of these systems working and flowing in a more healthy way. Gut dysbiosis and endotoxin loads. So if the gut microbiome is imbalanced or constipation is present, then endotoxins enter the bloodstream and go straight to the liver. Endotoxins, we call it, LPS. We're not going to go into that at the moment. I will do another a masterclass or webinar on constipation, because I hear this come up a lot. And so this gut dysbiosis increases inflammation, enzyme activity, congestion, and oxidative stress. This is one of the biggest hidden reasons of persistent ALT AST elevation, those enzymes. Iron overload is another one, so high ferritin. Ferritin is an acute phase reactant. High ferritin equals inflammation and oxidative stress. So iron overload directly stresses your hepatocytes, I say that right, and keep ALT and AST elevated. Many metabolic clients have high ferritin, have high CRP, which is an inflammatory marker, definitely have insulin resistance. That's why you end up with me, and clear signs of fatty liver. And we do know that fatty liver is a metabolic disease. And so that is why Metabolic Balance is such a wonderful program for this. And all these combinations, they slow your liver recovery as well. So we have to be, we're doing the right thing when we're putting whole foods and stable eating patterns into the picture. Another thing we've got to really think about is environmental load. So chemicals, fragrances, plastics, cleaning products. Your liver clears all of this as well. So it's not just what we're eating, it's what goes through our body. So fragrances, perfumes, cleaning chemicals, plastics, pesticides, alcohol, medication, and even supplements to some degree. So if someone is exposed to a lot of environmental chemicals, their liver enzymes may stay elevated simply because their detox pathways are just overloaded. And it's especially true for women using scented candles, diffusers, perfumes, fragrance body products, hair dyes, nail products. Our body's got to process this stuff, and all of this increases liver workload. Another thing we've got to look at is nutrient deficiencies, and we're going to cover these within the food section. Like Metabolic Balance will cover your foods, but sometimes we need some more support as well, because the body's doing a lot of detoxing and recalibration through this whole process. So sometimes we need to give it a bit of a boost along. So we've got to, your liver needs your B vitamins. It needs B6, B12, folate for healthy methylation. Not the cheap ones you buy from the supermarket, guys. These ones are cheap for a reason. We want to actually have those B vitamins at the right dose for you and the right source as well, because they're not all created equal. We need to know that we've got good choline for fat clearance. We need to know we've got good magnesium for our detoxification pathways. We need to know we've got good taurine, for example, for bile acid formation. Now, if these are low, liver enzymes will also stay elevated longer because the liver can't clear fat, toxins, and hormones efficiently. So we've got to support it. Choline deficiency alone can actually mimic fatty liver, and it shows up in the blood like that. And your plan caters for this. Your metabolic plan caters for this in the foods that are on your list. So I know that all sounds a little bit, whoa, Geraldine, so much information. I don't expect you to remember it, but what I do hope that you take away from this is that your body's doing its job. If the liver enzymes are raised, it doesn't mean that your liver is damaged. It does mean that it's very active, doing the things it needs to be doing. So let's support it. Let's support it do these things so we can get those enzymes down. And it takes a different amount of time for everybody. We've all got a different timeline, right? So what can we do? Please drink all of your water. Your water is such a critical part. If you're struggling to drink your water, just know that this is an important part of clearing your body out every single day, because hydration is a huge driver of bile flow and liver clearance. Um, Keep healthy oils in at every meal. And often we forget. We can forget to put oil in at breakfast time, particularly if we're having yogurt for breakfast, right? But keep healthy oils in at every meal. Even take it as a spoonful of medicine, because your gallbladder only contracts when fat is present. Now, if you don't have a gallbladder, then this is still relevant because your liver is still producing bile and it still has to have bile flow. And if the bile backlogs and the liver gets stagnant, then those enzymes are going to go up. So the oil is still very important regardless. Eat a wide variety of colourful vegetables, your fruits, because your liver needs that fibre and all those beautiful antioxidants to clear congestion. And poop regularly. If waste is not leaving your body, your liver has to deal with it all over again. It's like your body has to drink poop water. Toxins are recycled by your liver, and these toxins will raise your liver enzymes. So I will be running a whole masterclass on poop health soon, because it's really important. And I do think that many of you are going to benefit from more information, more in-depth information in one session, as opposed to little bits and pieces along your one-to-one consultations. I think having a big session on this may actually be quite beneficial for many of you. So stay tuned for that. It's coming. Your weight loss, your energy, your digestion, your sleep, your mental clarity, that's what's telling you that your liver is moving in the right direction. The numbers will catch up. They just need time, and they need support from the things that you're doing every day to actually move these toxins along and help support your liver to get these enzymes down. So I hope this information has given you a little bit more insight into raised liver enzymes, that it's not a warning sign that there's damage, but it is an indicator that your liver's working hard. And that can be a good thing, right? Because it's doing its job properly. And sometimes when it's really backed up and blocked, then those enzymes will go up until we actually get it flowing well. So do the things that you know are going to support good liver function. And I hope this information's helped, and I will see you all soon.